So I want to start this video by saying, do not start smoking or taking any nicotine products if you have not started. I do not condone smoking or taking nicotine products. They are bad for you and they will kill you sooner or later. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to be ranking nicotine products, the ones that I have used personally. And I'm not going to be counting nicotine gum, which I have used like once or twice, because my mom sent me a pack of nicotine gum over to when I was in London to try to help me smoke cigarettes. Stop smoking cigarettes. I didn't end up doing that. But I'm not going to be counting that because that's just sort of like, a way of quitting cigarettes. It's not really a form that people use for nicotine. But for the purposes of this video, I will be ranking cigarettes, cigars, vapes, and Zins. Those are the big four. Those are the big four people use nowadays. I mean, there are, older methods. You've got chewing tobacco. People used to take snuff where they would snort it like it was cocaine, which is pretty cool. I probably want to try that eventually. But to start off, number one is obviously going to be cigarettes for me. The thing with cigarettes is just, like, you can say they're not, but, I mean, they're fucking cool, dude. Like, anybody lights up a cigarette, it makes you look cooler. Like, the only people who don't look cool when they're smoking cigarettes are, like, the crackhead, like, white trash people, smoking behind the 7-Eleven on their break, on their job at the gas station, which is an unfortunately large number of the smoker population, because, like, I like to smoke a cigarette while I'm in the car, every once in a while, I'll light up a dart while I'm driving, I feel like make the ride a little bit better. And I noticed that the other people who happen to be smoking when they're in the car seem to be that kind of person, and unfortunately for a person like that, I mean, you're not very cool to begin with, maybe you have some ambition, be a little bit less trashy, but nonetheless, it's just the culture and the aura behind the cigarette has, elevated it to a level of coolness that nothing else has, all of the coolest actors you can think of, all of the coolest rock stars you can think of, they all smoke cigarettes. Even President fucking Obama, which, like him or not, he liked to bomb a lot of people, but like him or not, he was the coolest president to ever live. Okay, I will die on that hill. Barack Obama was the coolest president of all time. And he liked to rip a dart just like yours truly. So obviously cigarettes are going to be number one there. But another thing that you can't deny is the coolness of cigars, But I think that's more of a selective coolness. You have to have a certain vibe to be able to pull off the aura that a big fat cigar will give you. And I'm thinking of people like mob bosses, obviously you've got your classics like Al Capone, and then you've got like, like the guy from The Godfather or The Sopranos, somebody like that, you're ripping a big old fat cigar, you just look cool as fuck. Or maybe like, your classier types. And I mean, actually maybe not classier types for cigars. To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, obviously a lot of good cigars are very expensive. But I guess I got to give an honorable mention to the pipe here, because that is a classic old school form of tobacco that you cannot overlook the coolness that a pipe will give you. But that's more of like an old school, like 1920s or earlier kind of wealth, like elite, lord, noble, smoking a pipe. That's a cool thing. A cigar is a similar form of that in the modern era, I would say. So I think a cigar can give you a similar form of aura that the cigarette gives you, but to a much more select type of person, I would think. Like, I got this one friend who, he smokes cigars all the time. You know, he's a real big cigar guy. He doesn't really smoke cigarettes. Sometimes he'll smoke a cigarette with me, but not really. And you know, he'll smoke the cigar, but he just doesn't really pull it off. It just doesn't really give him the same aura that like it would give to like a mob boss, or even somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is very well known for smoking the stogies, you know, and he is a pioneer of cigar coolness in the modern era. So now up to this point, I've sort of been ranking them based off of, you know, the aura and the aesthetic that they will give you. And I think that's the main trade-off that you get when you get to the top levels of this nicotine business, because at the end of the day, it's the same drug, you know, it's the same thing. It's nicotine. It gives you the buzz. It gives you the feeling. It's the thing you're addicted to. And so from this point onwards for the next two, I'm just sort of going to be, you know, relating to whether or not I like the delivery system of the drug, you know, because I don't feel like a Zyn or a vape really gives you much of any extra aura, you know, extra coolness factor, if really giving you a negative coolness factor. I mean, I guess you could say like your frat bro, you know, he's banging all these chicks and he's got his vape and he's got his big old handle of Tito's. I mean, you could say that's certainly a vibe, you know, but I don't really think generally a vape is going to give you any more coolness or any more aesthetic than you normally have. But for this, I think I'm going to rank vape at number 3. I think this is going to be controversial to put vapes over Zyns, because I think the image of the vape is a little bit controversial. You know, you got your idea of, you know, sort of, you know, you could say somebody smoking a vape is a pussy. You know, when they got their strawberry watermelon vape, you know, you could say that's not cool. You could say that's kind of lame. But I gotta say, and I'm not very proud to admit this, but I do rip the vape from time to time, you know. I do quite enjoy the vape, you know. I mean, there have been several occasions when I have been, you know, drinking the alcohols and I will be smoking the cigarettes. And it doesn't really give me much of a buzz, you know. And then I hit the vape and I get that head rush. I think the vape gives you more nicotine than a cigarette does. And for that reason, it can give you a stronger buzz if you use it properly. And if you haven't used it for a while, it will give you quite a good buzz. It will give you quite a good buzz. I do enjoy the vapes. I generally don't buy vapes much because when I have a vape, I'll just be chiefing that shit 24/7. I'll just be laying in bed, scrolling on my phone, and I'll be hitting the vape all the time. And I don't think that's very good for me to be hitting the vape, you know, constantly. So I don't really do the vape, you know. A cigarette's more of like an effort because, you know, you have to go outside, you have to light it up, all of that shit. So, you know, you're not hitting it as much as you're hitting a vape. So I don't really have vapes for that reason, but I do actually quite enjoy the vape from time to time. You know, if my friend has a vape, you know, I'll ask to hit that shit. I do enjoy vapes. At 4th place, I'm going to put Zyns and their related products. Now, I will say, Zyn is honestly the worst brand that I have had of the nicotine pouches. Zyn, like when I put a Zyn in my mouth, it just dries my mouth up and it feels awful. Honestly, I prefer Velos to Zyns. But the problem with Zyns and related products is that they don't really give you the buzz as quickly, and it's more of like a light buzz over an extended period of time rather than a strong buzz quickly. And I don't really like that as much, you know. Like, I put a Zyn in and I don't feel it for like 10 minutes, and then after that it's very, very like a light feeling. And even if you go up to like the high milligrams, you know, like you pop like a 9 milligram Zyn, it's not even going to give you as good of a buzz as that first 2 puffs of the cigarette of the day, even though, you know, a cigarette only has like maybe like 2 milligrams or something like that. I don't know. Zins are very convenient because you can just have them at any time. You know, you can just pop them in anywhere. But, you know, overall experience, I'm going to put them at the bottom. Now, if you wanted to talk about convenience, this would be a whole different conversation. Obviously, Zins would be number 1 for convenience. But that's not the conversation we're having here. This is overall my opinion on it. And I think I'm going to put Zins at the bottom. Now, I will keep y'all updated upon whether or not I end up smoking a pipe or taking a little bit of the snuff or trying some chewing tobacco. I have not tried those forms of nicotine yet. And if I do try them, maybe I will have to rethink this ranking. But for now, I feel this ranking is fairly indicative of my opinions at the moment. And I hope you enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe button, smash that notification bell, leave a comment, like the video, and subscribe to my Twitch. I'm trying to get to the point where I have enough people on my Twitch so that I can sort of stream while I record these videos and just stream the video and have a little bit of a chat in there. Maybe respond to the people who are in the chat. So for sure, follow my Twitch if you're watching this all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please have a great rest of your day. Peace out.